Back everybody. Now it's been a while since I posted a tutorial video, but life hit. But I'm back. I'm gonna continue posting some videos, and I got a great one for you today. I started it off based on a request somebody made. Not really a request, but something they were looking for. So in this tutorial, I'm gonna show you how to use the JPanel to read in multiple inputs, basically on one screen, and then do calculations based on that. So like sort of like a calculator. So we'll go ahead and we'll start off. So I'm just gonna do a new project here. We'll call this JPanel Tutorial. Alright, that's all fine. Okay, good. Alright, yeah, finish. Okay. Alright, so here's the new project. So of course we gotta start off with a class. Now I'm not gonna split up different classes and stuff like that. I'm just gonna leave one class and keep everything static just to make life easier because I'm not gonna set any get or set methods and stuff like that. So let's name our class. We're going to name it the same as our the the class is going to be, well, we'll name it J. What should I name it? We'll do JPanel Test. JPanel Test. Test. Oh my god, my typing sucks. Okay. Blah blah boom bang beam. Okay, we're gonna need a main one in there, so I'm just gonna check this so I can have the main available. Okay, here we go. So let's delete this. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and start off with, let's start off with the methods that we're going to use. So we're going to import the stuff we need to basically complete this project. So we need to import the java.awt.star. This will basically import everything in the AWT class. And then we're going to also import java.awt.event. This is for like the action listener for when we click on the buttons, and also we're not going to really, have any actions while we're typing stuff in, but when we click the button, we want to have actions there. All right, and then we're also going to import the Java X swing. We need this for the GUI stuff, for the JPanel stuff. Oh, oops, forgot the dot star there. Okay, so those are the three that we're going to need in here. Now, the class itself is the JPanel Test, but we wanted to extend the JFrame so we can have the methods that are used in JFrame. This will just make it easier instead of importing, every little thing. And basically, to make the project work more smoothly, we're going to do it this way. So it extends JFrame. Now, we can go ahead and we can start creating our labels, our text fields, and our buttons. So we're going to start with the J label here. Oops. Geez, let me just make some space. J label. We'll call it the X. We'll call it label X. Now this is to read in the X value. So it's going to be a new uh, J label, and we're basically going to ask the user to enter X value. All right. Put a little space there to make it neat, and then we're going to do the same thing for the Y. J label. Label Y equals new J label, enter Y value. There we go. Make the space, make it a bit neat. Okay, so that's the only two labels we're going to have for this tutorial. We're going to move on to our text fields. Now the text fields are where the user is going to type in the information or the numbers. Now, for numbers, you would want to generally put like some kind of a verification or authentication class where when the user puts in a number, you want to verify, is it a number? We're not going to do that. We're going to keep it simple. So we're going to just create the text field. So we're going to do static. I'm going to leave everything static actually because I'm going to make all my methods static so it's easier to pull the information. Nothing private either. Just keep it simple. Okay, static. So we're going to do J text field X value. So this is going to be the value that the user puts in. Geez, English is screwing up too a little bit, huh? All right. J text field. Uh, Now the text field reads in as a string value, so we'll keep it 10 so they can enter a integer up to 10 digits. So you know what? Let's make it even more simple. We'll just leave it 5. Just keep it nice and simple. Static J text field. We're going to do y value. Also, in this tutorial, I'm not going to really do floats. I'm just going to do basic integers. We'll do floats like a different time. That'll be a pretty short tutorial. Not much to change in here. So we're going to do j text field. I mean, if you guys have programmed a little bit, you'll probably know how to make it a float. But let's go. Maybe I'll do the float. Let's see. Let's see what I come up with here. All right. So we got our y value. So these are the two different values that are going to be read in. Now we can move on to the buttons. So we're going to have a total of four buttons. So we are going to have add, multiply, subtract, and divide. So we're going to do a static j button button add equals new j button. And basically at this point, you can, like what do you want to appear on the button? So this is going to be add. So we're going to do, no, we'll just do a plus sign. Keep it simple. Okay, then we're going to do static j button subtract. Oh my god. Okay, new j button. Then we're going to do our little subtraction thing. Great. Of course, you can put anything you want in there. I'm just choosing these simple symbols. J button. You know what? All programmers must always have and will use the power of copy and paste. So I will not be shy on that method. So let's copy and paste. This makes life easier. So multiply, divide, right? So now multiplication is usually the asterisk and divide is the sign here, the forward slash. Alright, so those are the buttons. Now, finally, we're going to need a something to hold the results of our calculation. So I'm just going to make life easy and define everything prior to making the class. So I'm going to do static, and that's the reason we put static. So our static methods can pull this information right away. So we're going to do results equals 0. Just initialize it to 0. So if anything, it'll just print 0, right? Okay, so now we can go ahead and work on our method to actually create, not create, but, oh yeah. So we can go ahead and actually create our JPanel. All right, so here we go. So now I'm gonna make this method the same name as the class, so it'll be kind of like it'll run through with that, so I can add the super in there. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do JPanel. It has to be the same exact name, I believe, to be called a constructor. So we're gonna go ahead and add this in here. Yeah, I'm kind of catching up with this too. I haven't programmed in Java for a while, but I still got the hang of it, so it'll be cool. We'll make sure this works. So public JPanel Test. So the same exact name as the class. So now we can add the super method in here, and we're gonna call it JPanel Calc Demo. All right, good. Next, now we want to initialize our x and y values. The point of initializing is because we're going to be using this, we're going to be using our integer parse int method to convert the string to an integer. Now, when our program runs, this method or function is going to run as soon as our program starts. So if you don't initialize it to 0, it's going to have a null value in there, and your program's going to throw an error, and it's going to say, well, you can't make null an integer, so stuff like that. So we're going to initialize it here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do x value dot set text, and we're going to put the number 0 in there, or not the number. We're going to put it as a string value, because remember the JText field reads in a string. And then we're going to do y value dot set text, and we're going to put in 0 for this as well. I keep forgetting to use the power of copy and paste. Anyhow, okay. Okay, so now we're going to start setting up our layout for our little screen that's going to pop up. So just follow along with this. I'm not going into too much detail of actually setting up the layout. The main purpose is to get the text in there and do the calculations. And I'll explain a little bit now, as I'm going along. So we're going to do JPanel. This is where the fun starts now. We're going to create a new panel with a new JPanel. And we're going to give it a new grid bag layout. That's just an easy layout to use. So we're going to use the grid bag layout. And of course, you can search up the, the specifications of the layout. There are different layouts you can use, but this one I feel like would be the best one to use for this scenario here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. So we got our grid bag layout in the new panel. So now we're going to set up our grid bag constraints. So constraints are basically, like what constraints are going to hold this grid bag layout, like the insets, the anchor, like where is it going to show up, basically the size and stuff like that. So constraints, constraints are, if you think about the word, it's kind of like uh, a set amount that you can't cross, kind of. So just keep that in mind. Somewhat of a weak definition there. All right, so we got grid bag constraints. All right. So now we're going to set up an anchor. So we're going to do constraints dot anchor, and we're going to leave it west, west, north, south, east, So we're going to keep it west, which should be to the left. So it's going to be grid bag constraints dot west, like so. All right. And then we're going to set up constraints dot insets, and we're going to give it new insets, and we'll leave it like a kind of like a square value here. So we're going to do insets, and it takes 4 parameters, all integers, 10, I should say numbers, all numbers, like so. So now we have our constraints set, right? So now we can go on and move on to basically setting up our labels, like where they're going to appear on the grid layout, and we can start setting up, where the text fields are going to appear, where the buttons are going to appear. So we're going to do it very simple. So just follow along here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do constraints. Constraints dot grid x equals 0. And we're going to do constraints dot grid y equals 0. So we're just putting the initial size here for our x and y value. And x and y is usually in the middle. So we're going to start off from there. So we're going to do new panel dot add. All right, so we're going to set up our x label. And then we're going to do constraints. Alright, there we go, like so. Oh my god, what am I doing? Sorry guys. I got a little distracted here. Okay, so we're gonna add our X label. Alright, so it's gonna be X label. Alright, and then we got constraints, like so. Okay, good. So it's taking 2 parameters, so it's taking our, well, not X label, so that's what's not popping up. It's label X that I put. Label X, like so. Alright, so we're basically telling our system to, our program, where should we put the label X, which prints enter X value. So we're going to put it at the 0, 0 mark. Now we can put the constraints dot. Now basically we want to put our Y label. So for the Y label, we're going to leave the X value the same, but we're going to, well, actually, we want to put the X value next, like, because we have the label for the X, then we want to put the value of what the X is going to be. So we're going to do grid X, and we're going to make it 1 now, because we're going to move it to the right of label X, which is enter your X value, and then right next to it is going to be the text field, right? So we're going to do grid X equals 1, and now we're going to do new panel dot add. So we're adding onto our panel, which has that grid bag layout. So we're going to add X value constraints. So constraints, that's the reason we made the constraints. We can always just throw it into this new panel because we have a set basis for the constraints. And I can't spell constraints. There we go. Boom. Okay, done. All right, so that's the X value. Now we can move on to the Y label and Y value. So I'm just going to use the power of copy and paste here, like so. Now, in this case, since we've already defined our values up here for the y, we don't really need to. Well, actually, hang on. I'm thinking. Oh no, we do. Okay, so we're gonna move the grid x back to 0, but for the y label, we're gonna move it down 1, which is the y-axis. So we're gonna make y equal to 1, and we're gonna go ahead and we're going to change this to label y, and then grid x1, which is what it should be. So this is going to be the y value to the right of the y label. Wonderful. Okay, so now we can move on to our buttons. Okay, here we go. So we got the y value. Everything looks good. Okay, let's add our buttons, guys. Enter, enter, enter. Just gonna make some space. Okay, here we go. So now for the buttons, we need to do the constraints. Dot. Same thing. We gotta set the x value. We're gonna leave the x value at 0 for our button. We're gonna go ahead and constraints dot grid y equals, we'll put that to 2 for our button, and then we're gonna do constraints dot grid width, we're gonna just leave it at 1, like so. So this whole thing we're setting up for our button. Now we're gonna change the anchor to, actually the anchor's already been set to S, so we're gonna leave that. That should be fine. Constraint I get X word with. Okay, good. Alright, so we're gonna do new panel dot add, and we're gonna add our add button. Alright, so we're gonna do button add, and then we're gonna feed to the constraints. Alright. Okay, and now we're gonna do our next button. Now I'm not gonna copy and paste because for the next button, like we don't really have to mess with the x value or with the y value. We just have to mess with the x value. So I'm gonna do constraints dot x no dot geez dot grid x equals, so we have basically our add button in the west value, and we're doing it at 0. So we're just gonna make this 1 to print our subtract button right next to it, like so. And then all we do is new panel dot add, and we're gonna add our sub button, subtract button, sub constraints, like so. All right, good there. Okay, so now we're gonna do the same thing for the next button. So we're just gonna keep upping the x, and that's why we have those constraints with the insets of 10, 10. So we got a lot of space to move it around. So we're just gonna move it up by 1 here. So we got our oh, I put an extra button in here, guys. Okay, there we go. All right, so we got our add button, our subtract button, then this is going to be our multiply button, and this is going to be our division button, like so. All right, so we got all 4 buttons that we need, and now we can go ahead and we can set the title for our layout here. Now to set the title, you just got to do new panel dot set border. So we're going to set the border first, and we're going to grab from the border factory, and we're going to do create titled border, like so. Oh geez. Okay, let's just make some space, so I don't want to type so much in one line. Alright, now to add the title, we got to do border factory dot create etched border, oh my goodness, etched border. Alright, and it takes 2 parameters. So one is the etched border parameters, which tells what kind of border it is, and then the actual title that you're going to have on the border. Now the title we're going to put is, we're going to put calc panel, just to make life simple. Alright, and now we can add this to our frame. So since I created a constructor, so JPanel Test is part of the JFrame. So when we say add like this, it's referring to this frame. All right. Otherwise, you can also do like this dot add, if it wasn't a constructor, but we can just do add, and we're gonna put new panel. So we're adding this new panel to this frame. All right. Did it just make sense what I said? Ignore what I just said before that. Didn't make much sense. But now you know, because we're extending and we have this public class same as this public method same as the class name, and the class name is extending JFrame. When I put add like this, it knows is referring to this frame. The program knows. So we're going to add new panel, and then we're going to pack that panel, and then we're going to set the location relative to null, because we don't really have another frame that we want to set it relative to, so that's that. Okay, so this basically creates the frame itself. So if I run it and I show you right now, well, you won't see anything because it won't run. But let's go ahead and let's go into our main method for a moment here. And we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to run it with just this without doing any calculations, so you guys can see what the actual frame looks like. So we're going to do, we have to try so you know we catch any errors that pop up. All right, so it's going to be UI manager, user interface, manager dot set look and feel. All right, set look and feel, and we're going to do grab from the UI manager again. Dot, we're going to get system look and feel. So basically, the pop-up is going to be the settings of the system itself, the way the system is, like your system. All right. Boom, boom. Make sure everything looks good here. Yeah, okay, catch. So now we catch the error, if there is an error, which I hope there won't be, but enter. All right, so we're going to catch exception, and it could be any exception, and we're going to print the stack trace of that exception. So if there is an error, we'll be able to trace it and find out where it is coming from. All right. Okay, now we got that set. So now we can basically invoke our class there, or our method, swing utilities dot invoke later. It's going to be a new runnable, like so, and then we're going to put in our just a run method. So it'll run as soon as this program starts. It's going to run the frame, so it creates the frame with the initial values that we put in there. So we're going to do new JPanel. What did I name our class here? New JPanel Test. Okay, new JPanel Test dot. Oh my goodness, forgot the W, guys. I don't know why I didn't use my mouse, but whatever. It's just easier to delete It's just easier to delete sometimes. New panel test dot. What am I typing wrong here? No, I'm not typing anything wrong. Oh my god, it's a class. It's a class. Okay, new panel test dot set visible true. Try true, like so. Okay, what did I do wrong here? I don't understand. Oh, I didn't even put the run method in here. Sorry guys, you have to put the run method in here. Void run, that's how the system knows to run this. So we're going to run, and then we put this in here. We got to do enterito, and boom. Okay, like so. There. Okay, so that pretty much sets up this portion of it. So then we're going to hit, hey, stop moving. Okay, now we hit the run. So it'll build our little project. And there it is. Let me move it on to screen over here. So this is basically what we just created. Now right now it's not going to work, of course, because we did not set up the action listeners for the clicks. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually stop this video here, but in the next video I'm going to show you guys how to read in the clicks and the values that you put into these two boxes. And if you like this video, guys, please don't forget to hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more great videos. I'm going to be putting up a lot more tutorials for different languages, including Java, C Sharp, C++, and SQL as well. So please like and please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time.